Konnichiwa minasan. O genki desu ka? Welcome to the advanced course of my channel. Let's learn Japanese with Eric. In this lesson, we'll study how to say although in Japanese, how to use noni and keredomo. Yoroshii desu ka? Hajimemashou. In English, although is a conjunction that introduces a disjunctive subordinate clause. Disjunctive means that the idea presented in the subordinate clause produces an unexpected result that is expressed in the main clause. For example, this sentence, although I exercise daily, I don't lose weight. The idea in the subordinate clause, exercising daily, does not produce the expected result in the main clause, I don't lose weight. The two ideas are opposed. In English, the although subordinate clause can sometimes be expressed as in spite of, despite, or contrary to. In Japanese, there are two main ways to express this. Noni and KEREDOMO. KEREDOMO is formal and is often shortened to its informal forms, KEDO, KEDOMO, or KEREDO. Both noni and keredomo are used in the middle of the sentence. Now, when do we use noni and when do we use keredomo? We need to pay attention to the main clause. We use noni when the main clause is an unexpected result that has already happened, is ongoing, or is a statement of fact, and the speaker has a feeling of surprise, dissatisfaction, or discontent. On the other hand, we use keredomo when the main clause hasn't happened yet, and there's a possibility that it may happen or not, and the speaker feels less personal about it. This will become clear to you when we see examples. As we said in the previous slide, we use keredomo to express although when the main clause is yet to happen, meaning there are 6 situations when this applies. First, when the main clause is a request, we're talking about the conjugations te kudasai, please do, and naide kudasai, or please don't. You can review these conjugations in lessons 39 and 40. Second, when the main clause is a command, such as some form of shiro, do it, and suruna, don't do it. You can review rough commands in lesson 41. Third, when the main clause asks for permission, we're talking about the conjugation temo ii desu ka, which you can review in lesson 37. Fourth, when the main clause is a suggestion or advice. This refers to conjugations such as reba ii, which you can review in lesson 62D, and ta hoga ii, which you can review in lesson 56. Fifth is when the main clause expresses the speaker's intention. These are with conjugations such as shio to suru, shio to omou, or tsumori. We will tackle these in a future lesson, lesson 86. Sixth situation is when the main clause is a direct question. In other words, some form of shimasu ka, will you do? Now, because these 6 situations present a main clause that is yet to happen, there's a possibility it may not happen. For example, the listener may refuse the request or command, or may not heed the suggestion or advice, or the speaker may not get permission, or change his mind about his intentions. Because we don't know, there's no feeling of discontent or disappointment, and therefore we cannot use noni in these situations. Instead, we use keredomo. We also use keredo when we express a wish, discontent, frustration, or disappointment with ourselves. But when those feelings are directed towards others or situations, we use noni. We will look at some examples. Let's start with noni. Noni can be used with verbs. The verb has to be fully conjugated in the plain form. Noni can also be used with I and Na adjectives, as well as nouns. But when used with nouns, we use the pattern noun na noni when in the non-past affirmative form. Let's look at verbs plus noni. Again, we can only use verbs in their plain forms. Although I'm exercising every day, I don't lose weight. Now this is our subordinate clause, although I'm exercising every day, which in Japanese translates to 僕は毎日運動しているのに. And the verb is in the plain form 運動している. And this is our main clause, I don't lose weight, which in Japanese is simply 痩せない. So the whole sentence, 僕は毎日運動しているのに痩せない. 僕は毎日運動しているのに痩せない. Now there's a feeling of disappointment here that no matter how hard you exercise, you don't lose weight. Although he has studied Japanese for a long time, he still couldn't speak Japanese well. This is our whole subordinate clause, which in Japanese translates to 彼は長い間日本語を勉強しているのに。彼は長い間日本語を勉強しているのに. Our verb before noni is in the plain form 勉強している, and our main clause translates to まだ日本語が上手に話せません. It's a statement of fact. So the whole sense is 彼は長い間日本語を勉強しているのにまだ日本語が上手に話せません. Next, we look at e-adjectives and noni. E-adjectives can also conjugate to the negative じゃない, past tense 勝った, and negative past じゃなかった, all in plain forms, which then attach to noni. Although that PC is cheap, no one buys it. This is our subordinate clause. あのパソコンは安いのに. The adjective is in the plain non-past form 安い, and the main clause is no one buys it. 誰も買わない, which is another statement of fact and also probably conveys disappointment. So the whole sense is あのパソコンは安いのに誰も買わない. あのパソコンは安いのに誰も買わない. Although the Ferrari is very expensive, there are many people who want to buy it. Our subordinate clause in Japanese, フェラーリがすごく高いのに, and this is the adjective 高い. And the main clause in Japanese, 買いたい人がたくさんいます, which is a statement of fact. So the whole sense is, フェラーリがすごく高いのに買いたい人がたくさんいます。フェラーリがすごく高いのに買いたい人がたくさんいます。Next, we'll see na-adjectives paired with noni. A na-adjective conjugates in these four ways in the plain form. Adjective na, じゃない, だった, and じゃなかった. And then they append to noni. Although he's poor, he bought an expensive car. Our subordinate clause, in Japanese, 彼は貧乏なのに. The non-past affirmative na adjective must have na with it, 貧乏な, and then noni, 貧乏なのに. And our main clause, in Japanese, 高い車を買いました. 高い車を買いました. A statement of fact, probably mixed with surprise. And so the whole sentence, 彼は貧乏なのに高い車を買いました。彼は貧乏なのに高い車を買いました。Although Anna is beautiful, I wonder why she couldn't get a boyfriend. Our subordinate clause, アナさんは綺麗なのに。アナさんは綺麗なのに. Same case, beautiful or 綺麗 is a na adjective, and so we need na to put just before noni. 綺麗なのに. And our main clause in Japanese, どうして彼氏ができなかったのだろう。どうして彼氏ができなかったのだろう, which hints at surprise and a little bit of disappointment. So the whole sentence, アナさんは綺麗なのにどうして彼氏ができなかったのだろう。アナさんは綺麗なのに どうして彼氏ができなかったのだろう? Although she's not good at dancing, she will appear in a dance contest. Our subordinate clause in Japanese, 彼女は踊りが上手じゃないのに. Our na-adjective is conjugated into the negative 上手じゃない. Then it connects directly to noni, 上手じゃないのに. Our main clause in Japanese, ダンスのコンテストに出ます, which is a statement of fact and also expresses surprise. So the complete sentence, 彼女は踊りが上手じゃないのにダンスのコンテストに出ます。彼女は踊りが上手じゃないのにダンスのコンテストに出ます。Next, we look at examples using nouns. With nouns, we follow the pattern noun na noni. It's like what we do with na-adjectives. Although she's still 7 years old, she already could go home alone from school. Our subordinate clause in Japanese, 彼女はまだ7歳なのに. The noun is 7歳, and we put na after 7歳. 7歳なのに. And our main clause in Japanese, もう一人で学校から帰ることができる, which is a statement of fact expressing surprise because she's only 7 years old. So the whole sentence is, 彼女はまだ7歳なのにもう一人で学校から帰ることができる。彼女はまだ7歳なのにもう一人で学校から帰ることができる。Although he's Japanese, he doesn't like sushi very much. Our subordinate clause, 彼は日本人なのに. Our noun is Japanese person, 日本人, and then we add na, 日本人なのに. And our main clause in Japanese, 寿司があまり好きではありません, which is a statement of fact, and it's surprising because all Japanese should like sushi. And so the whole sense is, 彼は日本人なのに寿司があまり好きではありません。彼は日本人なのに寿司があまり好きではありません。Although it's already winter now, the weather is still warm. Our subordinate clause, 今はもう冬なのに. Winter is 冬, and to use with noni, we have to add na, 冬なのに. And our main clause, 天気がまだ暖かいです, which is a statement of fact counter to expectation. So the whole sentence, 今はもう冬なのに天気がまだ暖かいです。今はもう冬なのに天気がまだ暖かいです。Now we will look at examples where we need to use KEREDOMO to express although. We use KEREDOMO when the main clause is a request, command, request for permission, suggestion, advice, question, or intention. The common denominator in all these is that the main clause has yet to happen and so falls in their realm of possibility. For example, a request could be approved or denied. KEREDOMO is formal and KEDO, KEDOMO, and KEREDO are informal versions. We will use a mix of all these in our examples. Request. Although it is hot, please don't open the window. Our main clause is a request. Please don't open the window. Therefore, we have to use KEREDOMO. 暑いけれども窓を開けないでください。暑いけれども窓を開けないでください。You can review how to make requests in lessons 39 and 40. Next is command. Although he said come, don't go to the party. Our main clause, don't go to the party, is a command. Therefore, we use keredo. 彼が来いと言ってたけれど、パーティーに行くな。彼が来いと言ってたけれど、パーティーに行くな。行くな is a rough command, and you can review how to make this conjugation in lesson 41. Next is asking permission. Although I don't have confidence, may I try to do it? Now this sounds weird in English, but this is a very common expression of humility in Japanese. Our main clause, may I try to do it, is a request for permission, so we use kedo for although. 自信がないけど、やってみてもいいですか? 自信がないけど、やってみてもいいですか? Now, you can review the temoi conjugation for asking permission in lesson 37 and the try to do conjugation te miru in lesson 49. Another asking for permission example. Although it'll get noisy, may I turn on the TV? May I turn on the TV is a request for permission, so we use KEREDOMO for although. うるさくなるけれども、テレビをつけてもいいですか? うるさくなるけれども、テレビをつけてもいいですか? うるさく means noisily, and it's an adverb that comes from the adjective うるさい, meaning noisy. To review how to make adverbs from adjectives, please watch lesson 18. Next is advice. Although it's not very delicious, it's better to eat a little for your health, you know. Our main sentence is advice. It's better to eat a little. So we use kedo to express although. あまりおいしくないけど、健康のためには少しでも食べた方がいいですよ。あまりおいしくないけど、健康のためには少しでも食べた方がいいですよ。Now, the ta hoga I is the conjugation for advice, and you can review this in lesson 56. Next is intention. Although it's expensive, I intend to buy it. Our main clause, I intend to buy it, expresses intention. Therefore, we use keredo for although. Although it's expensive, takai keredo, I intend to buy it. Kau tsumori desu. Takai keredo, kau tsumori desu. The pseudonoun tsumori is one way to express intention, and we will have a lesson on expressing will and intention in lesson 86. And lastly, when asking a straight question. Although it's raining, will you still go out? If we translate will you still go out into mada dekakemasu ka? Then it's a straight question, and so we use keredo. Although it's raining, ame ga futte iru keredo, mada dekakemasu ka? Ame ga futte iru keredo, mada dekakemasu ka? Now, however, if we ask the question indirectly by nominalizing into mada dekakerun desu ka, then we can use noni. It's because the whole thing before it now turns into this big noun clause, and instead of asking whether you will go out despite the rain, the question now becomes literally into, is it the fact that you will still go out despite the rain? So with indirect nominalized questions, we can use noni, but not with direct straight questions. With direct straight questions, we use keredomo. In Japanese, we can use although clauses to express discontent. To express discontent to other people, meaning to you, him, her, or the situation, we use the pattern ba ii noni. And then expressing discontent with oneself, we use the pattern ba ii dakedo, or its variants such as ba ii desu keredomo for very polite speech. Motto undo sureba ii noni. Motto undo sureba ii noni. Because we use noni, the statement translates to I wish you would exercise more, or I wish he or she or they would exercise more. And if we contrast this with motto undo sureba ii desu kedo, motto undo sureba ii desu kedo, the kedo here signals the disappointment is directed at oneself. I wish I would exercise more. And to make it even clearer, we can add watashi wa at the beginning. Watashi wa motto undo sureba ii desu kedo. I wish I would exercise more. And if we change the same sentence to past tense, the meaning changes a bit. Motto undo sureba yokatta noni. Motto undo sureba yokatta noni. yokatta is the past tense of e, and the sentence translates to, I wish you had exercised more. That you had exercised more in the past. And changing noni to kedo, motto undo sureba yokatta desu kedo. Motto undo sureba yokatta desu kedo translates to, I wish I exercised more. I wish I exercised more in the past. Some more examples of disappointment directed at things and situations. この車がもっと安ければいいのに。この車がもっと安ければいいのに。I wish this car were a bit cheaper. 夏休みがもっと長ければいいのに。夏休みがもっと長ければいいのに。I wish the summer vacation were longer. Now, some things to consider when using KEREDOMO and NONI. KEREDO can be substituted by the particle ga, meaning but. After all, KEREDOMO also means but. For example, this sentence, 弟は運動しますけど痩せません. My younger brother exercises but doesn't lose weight. Now, substituting kedo with ga, 弟は運動しますが痩せません. Same meaning. My younger brother exercises but doesn't lose weight. Now, noni is also a bit related to the conjugation temo, or even if, which we learned in lesson 50. So for example, the sentence, 弟は運動しても痩せません. 弟は運動しても痩せません. Even if my younger brother exercises, he doesn't lose weight. And 弟は運動するのに痩せません. 弟は運動するのに痩せません. Although my younger brother exercises, he doesn't lose weight. Now, the meanings in English may all sound the same, but there are slight nuances in Japanese related to how the speaker feels. With kedo and ga, the speaker has a neutral feeling, just stating a fact that my younger brother exercises but doesn't lose weight. With temo, the nuance is that my younger brother typically doesn't exercise, but when he doesn't lose weight. And with noni, the speaker expresses a feeling of disappointment and sympathy for his younger brother, that although his younger brother exercises, his younger brother doesn't lose weight. To summarize, in this lesson, we learned how to express the conjunction although in Japanese. We use noni when the main clause is an unexpected result that has already happened, is ongoing, or is a statement of fact, and there's a nuance of discontent, frustration, and disappointment by the speaker. Noni can be used with verbs, adjectives, and nouns, and they all have to be in the plain forms. Noni is also used to express a wish or frustration with other people. The second way to express although is with KEREDOMO, which can be shortened to casual conversation into KEDO, KEDOMO, or KEREDO. Now, you use KEREDOMO when the main clause is something that has not yet occurred, and this happens when the main clause is a request, a command, a request for permission, a suggestion or advice, intention, or direct question. We use KEREDOMO because any of these can go either way. A request can be granted or denied, a suggestion followed or not, and we also use KEREDOMO to express frustration with oneself. And so this ends our lesson on although. Our next lesson is on the passive tense of verbs. See you then. Mata aimashou. Ganbatte kudasai. If you're serious about becoming fluent in Japanese, it's important to practice daily, learn grammar, and build up vocabulary. My whole course is designed to give you a strong basic foundation in the Japanese language that you can build solidly upon. So please click like, share, or subscribe and watch the next video in the series. Nihongo no benkyou ni ganbatte kudasai. じゃあ、またね。